is a question that philosophers have asked for centuries. What happens when you take a human being and you strip away everything that makes them human? We like to believe that suffering makes us stronger. We tell ourselves that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It is a comforting lie. It gives our pain meaning. But there is a different kind of suffering, a suffering so absolute, so humiliating that it doesn't strengthen your character. It deletes it, destroys the soul, leaving behind a hollow shell that is desperate to be filled again. When a man loses his dignity, his body, his voice, and his future, does he remain a man or does he become something else? Today, we are not just telling the story of a fallen hawk. We are exploring the terrifying transformation of Griffith from Berserk. We are going to answer the ultimate question. Did Griffith betray his humanity, or was his humanity tortured out of him, piece by piece, until only the monster remained? This is not a story about good versus evil. This is a story about the price of a dream. To understand the tragedy, we first have to understand the height from which he fell. Griffith was not just a leader, he was a symbol. To his men, he was a god, walking on earth. He possessed a beauty that transcended gender, charisma that made men want to die for him, and a tactical genius that won impossible wars. He had a dream to get his own kingdom, to reach the castle in the sky. But pay attention to his philosophy. He once said, "A true friend is someone who does not depend on another's dream. A friend is someone who is my equal." This philosophy sounds noble, but it is actually arrogant. It implies that everyone else, Guts, Casca, the band of the Hawk, are merely stones in the path to his castle. He loved them, yes, but he loved them as an owner loves his tools. He was the White Hawk, pure, untouchable, but perfection is fragile. The higher you fly, the harder you crash. And when his equal, Guts, decided to leave him, the crack in the perfect mask appeared. For the first time, the god lost control, and in a moment of emotional weakness, he made one mistake, one human mistake, and the world punished him with a fate worse than death. Imagine 1 year, 365 days, not in a prison cell, but in a dungeon specifically designed to break the mind. They didn't just imprison Griffith, they dismantled him. The king of Midland wanted to ensure that the White Hawk could never fly again, so he systematically destroyed everything that gave Griffith his power. They cut the tendons in his arms and legs. He could no longer hold a sword. He could no longer walk. They cut out his tongue. He could no longer command. The voice that inspired thousands was reduced to a silent scream. They flayed the skin from his beautiful face. They forced him to wear an iron mask, locking him in eternal darkness. Let's pause and think about the psychology of this. Griffith's entire identity was built on his superiority. He was better than everyone else. He was chosen by destiny. Now he is rotting in his own filth, fed like an animal, helpless. For a whole year, he sat in the dark. What do you think about when you are alone in the dark for a year? You think about your regrets. You think about the friend who left you. You think about the castle you will never reach. The suffering didn't make him noble. It bred resentment. It bred madness. Every day, a little piece of Griffith died, and a little piece of something darker took its place. The suffering was carving out a hole in his soul, a vacuum that would eventually suck in the entire world. When he was finally rescued, the horror truly began. His friends looked at him, and what did they see? They didn't see their glorious leader. They saw a crippled, mute, fragile thing. They looked at him with pity. For a man like Griffith, pity is more painful than torture. There is a specific scene in the wagon that captures this perfectly. Griffith looks at Guts and Casca together. He sees their strength. He sees their love. He looks at his own destroyed body. He realizes he is no longer the main character of his own story. He has become a burden. Luggage. Can you imagine the despair? To have a god complex trapped inside a corpse. Tries to end it. Tries to kill himself on a sharp rock. But he is so pathetic. He can't even commit suicide properly. He finds the behemoth, the egg of the king, and destiny offers him a choice. Stay away. This brings us back to our question. Does suffering create monsters? Griffith was given a choice during the eclipse. Sacrifice them. Sacrifice the only things you have left, your friends, and you will be reborn. You will have your wings again. You will have your kingdom. A normal human would say, no, but Griffith was no longer a normal human. He was a creature forged in a year of absolute agony. He had already sacrificed thousands of soldiers for his dream. If he stopped now, If he let his dream die because of his broken body, then all that suffering would be for nothing. So he said, I sacrifice. He didn't do it because he hated them. He did it because he loved his dream more than he loved his humanity. The suffering didn't create the monster. The suffering simply removed the human barriers that were holding the monster back. Griffith did plenty wrong, but he is the most tragic example of what happens when a human being is pushed beyond the breaking point. He became a demon, not to destroy the world, but to escape the hell of being a powerless human. But the story does not end with the fall of the hawk. To truly understand the nature of suffering, we must look at the other side of the coin. If Griffith represents how suffering can destroy a man, there is another figure who represents how suffering can forge a man, the Black Swordsman, Guts. While Griffith was destined for greatness, Guts was destined for death. Literally, he was born from the corpse of a hanged woman. His first experience in this world was falling from a dead mother into a pool of mud and blood. From his very first breath, the universe told him, you are not welcome here. Griffith had a golden dream. Guts had a nightmare. He was sold by his father figure, Gambino, for a few coins. He was betrayed. He was abused. He killed his own father in self-defense. By all psychological logic, Guts had every excuse to become a monster long before Griffith did. He had every reason to hate the world, but he didn't. Why? Because Guts never had a god complex. He never expected the world to be kind to him. While Griffith was looking at the sky dreaming of a castle, Guts was looking at the dirt, swinging a sword just to survive one more day. The true difference between them is revealed during the eclipse. Remember the moment Griffith said, I sacrifice? He was floating in the air, protected by the God Hand, separating himself from humanity. Now look at Guts. He was on the ground, in the middle of hell, watching his best friends being eaten alive, watching the woman he loved, Casca, being violated by his former leader. The psychological trauma of this moment is infinite. It is enough to break 1,000 minds. But what did Guts do? Did he beg for mercy? Did he try to escape reality like Griffith? No, he cut off his own arm. Think about the symbolism of that. He severed his own limb, not to run away, but to run towards the monster, to fight, even when it was impossible. Even when he was an ant fighting a god, Griffith sacrificed others to save himself. Guts sacrificed himself to save others. After the eclipse, Griffith became femto. He shed his human emotions so he would never feel pain again. He chose the easy path of absolute power. Guts chose the hard path. He survived. He was branded. He is hunted by demons every single night. He never sleeps peacefully. He carries the Dragon Slayer, a sword too big, too heavy, and too rough for a normal human. That sword is not just a weapon. It is a physical manifestation of his trauma. It represents the weight of the dead, the weight of his anger, the weight of his sadness. Griffith threw away his burden to fly. Guts built the muscle to carry his burden and keep walking. That is the philosophical core of Berserk. Griffith wants a perfect world without pain. Guts accepts that pain is the price of being alive. As the Skull Knight said, he is the struggler. So, we end this video with a conclusion about the human condition. Suffering is inevitable. Life will break you. It will take your dreams, your friends, and your dignity. You can be like Griffith. You can let the pain twist you. You can sacrifice your morals to escape the hurt. You can become a monster to protect your fragile ego. Or you can be like Guts. You can grit your teeth. You can pick up your heavy sword, and you can take one more step. Not because there is a guarantee of victory, but because, as long as you are struggling, you are still human. In a world full of Griffiths, be a Guts. Thanks for watching. If you survived this deep dive into the abyss, subscribe and let me know in the comments, would you sacrifice or would you struggle?
In this world, is the destiny of mankind controlled by some transcendental entity or law? Is it like the hand of God hovering above? At least it is true that man has no control, even over his own will.